We believe there are four perspectives which make the G20Y Summit unique. First one is what I would call capacity building. The second one is impact. The third one is reputation. And fourth, networking.
When it comes to the networking aspect, we believe that the G20Y has certainly a very specific task and role to play. And the reason for that is that the participants of the G20Y Summit are highly advanced and talented C-level executives that are in the age group of 30 to 50 years that will be the decision makers and leaders of their companies in the next years to come. So by participating in this event, they can get to know their peers in their own industry sectors as well as different industry sectors, and can therefore build a very strong network that will further help and advance them in the career goals in the years to come.
Regarding capacity building, what's really absolutely unique is that we have representatives, typically 100 to 120 people, coming from the largest companies in the world to meet at a G20Y Summit to talk about issues which are relevant for those respective industries. And they are conducting those sessions in specific working groups organized by committees.
For me, the most important is what you, as a human being, you are going to get from the friction you will have during these days between yourself. The first thing for me is we have to trust in what we are saying. It's a question of courage. Have you the courage to tell to your boss, we are going in the wrong direction? Have you done that? You, what do you want to do with your company within the next 10 years?
Me personally, I am a strong believer that a network of human beings and convinced human beings can do sometimes much more than big institutions or governments. The group of executives, and especially young executives from all over the world, if they join their efforts in some projects or in some topics, it can work much more efficiently than large institutions.
Technology moves, as we feel, very quickly. Policymakers and regulatory bodies have a tendency to drag behind and often making inputs into regulations that could be clumsy or even, at worst, inhibit the power of innovation as technology moves forward. However, there are certain aspects of this digital revolution that comes in, for instance, privacy, and or governments could step in and guarantee the privacy and the security of the privacy of the population in a country, for instance, rather than trying to ban or inhibit the development in the country.
We started originally having one single global financial institutions committee. And then we made a decision to split that up into banking and insurance. And I think the third logical subcommittee would be everything I call it alternative investments.
Being involved in the G20Y Summit was an opportunity to really bring together the passion that I have around insurance and how insurance actually supports the economy, supports our society, supports business. How do we come together as an industry and bring an opinion from young leaders who have to continue to lead forward within the economy and within the insurance industry?
Ladies and gentlemen, Regina Aristotova, Timo Akepé, Julian Ehrenberg, Paul Jellerman, Jan Schubert.
We have seen a very important evolution in the agenda. At the very beginning, the topic were about climate change, whether it was really an important issue or not, and about the oil and gas market. 5 years after, the global discussion really shifted to different topics. New technologies, new framework, new markets, etc. Access to market, access to those 1.3 billion people without electricity, market structure, and how to have more efficient processes. It's really an evolution of the discussion we are having. And as young generation, we find fresh ideas around this topic. It's very exciting.
The impact is absolutely at the institution level, but there's huge impact, I think, to the individuals coming into an environment as enriching as this, engaging in good debate, having a freedom through which you can explore ideas and seek input, and then how that ultimately will get translated back into your own corporate context or government context or industry context, I think has a huge impact and a huge opportunity to make a big difference as well.
We're discussing around global demographic shift or development that we call. We believe that this is one of the fundamental issues that links to all the topics that we're talking about in this G20Y. The current population of 7 billion will soon become 9 billion in 2050. But it's a bit scary to think that it used to be 3 billion when I was born, and it used to be 1 billion only 100 years ago.
We looked at what is the composition of that population going to be when we reach this 9 billion people mark. And what we found is the population is going to be quite older. And that's where we chose to really focus our efforts, is what happens with an aging population and how does that impact social systems, national resources, how does it impact talent?
Impact. Impact has two components. The first one is that the final recommendations of the G20Y summit are going to be communicated in the final communique to a variety of international stakeholders, institutions, and associations. The second component of impact is that every G20Y summit committee has a direct link to an international organization or association to which the output and outcome of the committee discussions have relevance, and those institutions can benefit directly from on-the-ground experience of the G20Y summit committees.
And the entire impact process will build 7 very powerful teams designing our world. And you will design our world.
But the most important for me is you are in a position to impact. The only thing is you want to impact the world organizations. No, start to impact around you. You have responsibility, you have teams around you, you have a decision to take. So first of all, be sure you respect what you discuss here.
By participating in the G20Y summit, this is a great opportunity for companies to further increase their reputation. They show that they support the vision, mission and objective of this great initiative. The participants of the G20Y summit can be very proud that they are part of this event. The reason for that is that they have undergone a very selective process and have been chosen by their own company's boards as being part of a team of the best and the brightest, and are being sent to this event to represent their respective companies.
Just in 10 years perspective, half of the jobs existing will not be relevant anymore. Not only because of the professions going to some digitalization and innovation, but also because of the new generations of people coming to the working scene who would like to have more creative jobs. And then it's also a kind of response. What type of jobs do we want to create? And creating jobs topic, it's not only about brains or techniques, HR techniques, but it's much about people, about your feelings, about your understanding of life. And if you're connected, you can create the best recommendations.
The commitment I made within the group is the results of this discussion. Those will be forwarded to our members. We will take that into account into the discussions. I don't think there is one person or one company that can make the difference. The difference can only be made if we address the topic globally.
We are dealing with global food security. It's one of those subjects that, people choose them because they want to go for it, because they believe it is important, they want to make a difference. And we could feel that during the whole process. There's a tremendous paradox. You've got 800 million people who go hungry. You've got 2 billion people in the world who suffer from micronutrient deficiencies. You've got another billion of people who suffer from obesity. And at the same time, you've got 1/3 of the food that is produced in the world that never reaches anybody's stomach. The global food system has been tremendous at raising its productivity, but as you can see, we've got imbalances in the system. And it's only through cooperation between governments, it's only through public-private partnerships in places where we can have an impact that eventually will move the needle. But let's not remove the citizens from that debate on issues like food waste. Households, private individuals have a significant role to play as well.